Hey, what's happening? What's popping, everybody? If you got a BBC, hit me up, but that's beside the point. So, it's week 7, it's past the halfway mark, and we're facing Trev the King. And I feel like a lot of people in my situation are going to start slacking in the sense of when people start winning and they're in a position to make playoffs, they don't spend as much time on their teams. But I'm not going to slow up by any means. And the only scenario that I would ever slack is on purpose for strategic purpose. Yeah, basically for strategy wise. And for right now, there's no reason for me to throw this game versus Trev. So the thing with Trev is he's not having the best of seasons right now because he's kind of in a weird scenario where he's borderline relegation, but then he's also borderline making playoffs for that fourth seed. So um, since we're in the halfway mark with only 6 games left, it's going to be very important the next 6 games for him. So he's going to be pushing hard. And I have to continue to motivate myself to continue to push hard because I don't want to throw any games. Not just because I don't want to lose, but also because I really, really want to get the first seed because I don't want to face Maddie or Togavor round 1 of playoffs. And it's that simple because I'm going to potentially lose versus one of those two. I think if I face Maddie, I'm maybe probably gonna lose versus Maddie in playoffs. But that's beside the point. We're getting way that's here nor there for right now. But this is a tough matchup for me, not in the sense of team wise, but player wise. So Trev the King, he's incredibly unorthodox. This man brought a what was it? It was like an infestation woodhammer curse mimikyu, and like he brings stuff like this all the time. Very, very unorthodox. So in a sense, you cannot prepare versus something like that. You can only play around certain god sets like that, and um, you just gotta hope you have the offensive presence to break through a set like that, or just not get caught, or not, play super obvious. So I gotta keep that in mind, not to play super obvious versus Trev, or at least hope to. That's the plan. Another thing with his Mons, though, is that they can do a lot of different roles. Very, very specific Mons. I'll go over the 4 Mons that can go either offensive or defensive, and that is huge. That is actually going to be a deciding factor of the game. So I have a game plan in this matchup, and I want to scout his team so I know what my win condition would be late game. And once again, if I can scout and understand the structure of his team, I will understand. For example, right? Celesteela is a Mon that can go offensive or defensive in this matchup because he can go offensive autotomize, because what that will enable him to do is start getting boosts, and um, that's obviously a potential late game sweeper if he weakens my Mons. And like, for example, if Mega Dancy and Zygarde weaken my team down and he sets up a Totemize with Celesteela and my Shukaberry on my Registeel, even though Registeel auto loses versus Celesteela regardless, but you get the concept of I need to know this, but I will understand what his team does throughout the match. For example, if he hard switches Celesteela into something that I know it's not a Totemize or necessarily a sweeper, and I can gauge his bulk per se. So that's going to be very important. Mega Diancie. So Mega Diancie, it's not super versatile, but there's about 5 or 6 things to consider. So I guess the first thing that I want to establish is that in my eyes, I think he should go modest. And I think that because he needs to speed creep my Kieran Black because my Kieran Black can absolutely go max speed to speed creep his Zygarde. But he doesn't really, in my opinion, need to speed creep Mew because, I mean, it's 50-50. I mean, Mew can do anything, but yeah, I have things like Registeel, Stunfisk. Well, Stunfisk's a lord, but he needs probably the additional power, and that will help him better. But in my eyes, I think he should go modest, but he might go timid just to speed creep Mew. So that's something to keep in mind. As far as potential sets go, he needs Moonblast to hit my Kieran Black, and specifically my Mega Heracross, because he could also run something like Diamond Storm or the special rock move Power Gem to hit my Kieran Black too. So he does have that option, but he does need, once again, Power Gem does not hit my Mega Heracross hard enough, and obviously I'm bringing Mega Heracross this game because he has things like Zygarde and Necrozma and stuff like that. So once again, the Migdancy, it can go Calm Minds, it can go Rock Polish, and potentially 3 different coverage moves. So if I can figure out if he's Calm Mind, then he's probably not Rock Polish, and if he's Rock Polish, then he's probably not Calm Mind, and if he gets the outspeeds on everything, then I can take a hit from things like my Mew and my Registeel should take a hit if he's Rock Polish, but if he's Calm Mind, then my Thunder should be able to get the outspeed. Next, Celesteal. Celesteal, as I already went, can go Autotomize or it can go Bulky to take hits from Mega Heracross, Kieran Black, if he does need that. So it depends on his archetype. Next is, in my opinion, the scariest Mon. If I am going to get swept, it's going to be by the Zygarde. So the thing is that in Mox, I had a mindset that he's going to bring max speed, max attack Zygarde. Because if he doesn't, I have so much offensive presence, right? So he can't freely set up versus things like I have a Kieran Black, I have a Mega Heracross, I got a Mew that can carry Ice Beam, I got a Thundurus, so it's in his best interest in my mind that he carries something like Dragon Dance opposed to the Coil set. And I don't feel like specially defensive Zygarde is the best bring because yes, it can check the Thundurus, but it's so specific, and I disagree with it, and it's in my opinion bad. But that's beside the point. I still have to see if he's spit up Zygarde or if he's offensive DD. I think he's offensive DD, but as far as the coverage mons go, I really expect him to have Z-Move Zygarde because it has the option to either run Z-Move Zen Headbutt to hit Mega Heracross at +1 and knock me out, or he can run Z-Move Outrage, and that's like a base, it's a higher base attack than Zen Headbutt, so I can see either way. And with Outrage, you're locked, and I do have Registeel and Gardevoir, which there's not really a lot of loss by running Outrage because I don't have the best for dragons in general, but it's a kind of a cost because you're locked into Outrage, whereas Z-Move Outrage will allow him to Z-Move Outrage something like my Kieran Black or Heracross without being locked. So next we got the Necrozma. I definitely expect Necrozma to come because this is his real switch into Kieran Black if he were to have one. And originally I did have something like a choice band Kieran Black versus his team because if I'm choice banned, I don't care about the walk-on berry on Celesteela. I easily one-shot the Zygarde, obviously. I don't have to carry Iron Head on Kieran Black because Fusion Bolt with a choice band will kill the Mega Dancy if I get rocks up, etc., etc. So you get the point. But I would be choice banded Kieran Black with something like a Shadow Claw that doesn't care about the filter ability on a Necrozma, and I'm just gonna be able to just get kills with it. But you'll see what kind of set that I have later. The next mon that I want to go over that he can potentially bring is something like a Dragalge. I can't even say it right. Dragalge, and I definitely think this is a need for him because his team is extremely weak to Thunder's Eye, and I fully expect Dragalge to come for the Thunderous Eye, and kind of, sort of, for the Mega Heracross too. Um, but as far as the sets go, it depends on what kind of team he has. So I expect him to most likely bring something like AV or SpDef T-Spikes, because that will enable him to take a +2 Psychic from Thunderous and kind of go from there to knock me out with a Draco or whatever. Um, and I was also thinking, like, another thing, if he wanted to be a god, he could also bring Scarf Dragalge, and it's not going to be able to outspeed Thunders. I kind of forget what speed tier Dragalge hits if it's Scarf, but I'm almost extremely positive that Scarf Dragalge outspeeds my Kyurem Black and my Mega Heracross, so that's kind of a tech. But I gotta wait and see. But the thing with Scarf is he won't have the bulk, so I guess that's extremely unlikely to bring. And then Specs. So Spectra Galgi is the least likely, but I think it would only come in a very, very specific scenario. If I see Choice Specs on Dragalge, I'm going to think he has a Trick Room team. I think he's going to have Trick Room Mega Dancy, or because that's the other thing, right? I don't think I don't really know, but if he's gonna, I think he kind of does need a lot of speed on Meg Dancy, so Trick Room Mega Dancy is like a hell no that he's not gonna bring. But no, it's more Trick Room Mesprit. That's what I want to go over, right? So he could randomly have a Trick Room theme, and he could have Trick Room Mesprit into Choice Specs Dragalge. So that would be the Trick Room support right there, just between Dragalge and Mesprit right there. And if he brings Mesprit, he's either going to be a couple different things. He could be Specs with Rocks. Yeah, Choice Specs Rocks, which is kind of weird, but the only coverage that Mesprit needs is Psychic and Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball to hit my Mew. Or, I don't know, whatever coverage you want. Psychic, something to hit Mew, and then the other two could be U-Turn and Stealth Rocks. But I think the thing with Mesprit is he needs to run enough speed to outspeed my Mega Heracross, and he's probably going to run max speed to speed tie with my Gardevoir and Kabutops, because if you're going to outspeed my Mega Heracross, you might as well just go all the way to the speed and hit Kabutops and Gardevoir. But Specs also allows him to run Trick as well, because he can trick things like my Curslax and my Mew, cripple my Mew. So originally on my team also I had a Choice Scarf, Trick, Mew, but I decided against it because I was actually Choice Scarf to also outspeed the Zygarde at +1 and then kill it off with a Ice Beam, but I decided against that. But that's a Heat God set, I guess. But anyways, let's kind of go over my team. I've been talking a lot about his team, but I took, I tried to really think in depth of a lot of different options that he can run, and I don't want to be caught off guard versus a guy like Trev and lose for no reason. So let's go over my team. So Registeel, Shuckleberry. Shuckleberry helps him with the Zygarde, but more importantly, the Mega Dancy with the Earth Power to hit me. Earth Power. 2 Earth Powers cannot kill my Registeel because I'm max. I don't need any other stats other than SpDef. Stealth Rocks for obvious reasons. Iron Head to one-shot the Mega Dancy. I was thinking about putting a tiny bit of investment in attack just in case he was randomly max HP with a little bit of bulk on Mega Dancy. Because if he's Rock Polish, he can run probably some bulk, but I decided because he can't 2-hit KO me with 2 Earth Powers, I'm just gonna slap on Iron Head, and I'm pretty confident that should be able to OHKO. I have Toxic. Toxic hits things like the Alomomola. I mean, it hits essentially everything, but more specifically, it hits Alomomola and Rotom and even Mantine. If he does randomly bring that. And Ice Punch. So the last slot right here, this was kind of a toss-up. I'm not sure exactly if I do want to put Seismic Toss on this last slot, but originally I did have Seismic Toss, and that will help me chip away at the Celesteela as Celesteela. If it doesn't have Leech Seed, it'll only, and like if it doesn't have Leech Seed and it doesn't have lefties and it doesn't have any form of recovery, I can Seismic Toss Celesteela down. But the reason why I'm not going to go Seismic Toss is just in case he is substitute max HP Zygarde. It will not, Seismic Toss will not break the subs on Zygarde, so I decided I'm going to go Ice Punch, and Ice Punch is a 3-hit KO on Zygarde, but unless he's Coil. But it doesn't do a lot, but it does break the subs, and if he's locked into Outrage, I need something to hit the Zygarde. So I thought Ice Punch was my best coverage moves to hit it. So yeah, that's pretty simple on that part. So next, Mew. Our Mew, bulky as always. Originally I had Scarf, but I decided Trick Scarf, but and Volt Switch and stuff. But I decided we'll get back to humanity and not go too crazy here. But the investment here is to allow me to not get too KO'd by Mega Diancie. Helps me. I can Roost Off versus Heavy Slam Celesteela. I can't take Z moves with Mew. Like I can't take a Z move Outrage plus Outrage with Mew. But I can take a plus. I'm pretty confident I can take a +1 Z move Outrage after Stealth Rocks and roar the Zygarde out. I was also thinking I could have had Ice Beam on my last spot instead of Roar. So this was another toss up, but one, Yachi. I didn't want to auto lose because he had Yachi. And two is because he has the Necrozma, Mew, I don't want it to be setup fodder, and I can just handle Necrozma with Roars and Super Fangs and just kind of go from there. I like roaring out the Necrozma if I have to. Will-O-Wisp, I think, is literally free versus him, except Mega... Well, if I go for Will-O-Wisp versus Mega Diancie, it burns me, but then I Magic Bounce it, or I Will-O-Wisp, it hits the Magic Bounce thing, but then the Synchronize burns on him. So literally, if I click Will-O-Wisp, I get a status on something, except for Kamala, because you can't status Kamala. Roost, yeah, and then Super Fang because he doesn't have a Ghost type. And yeah, I got a Snorlax versus a team with no Ghost types, so that's going to be really fun. We'll go on to that later. Next, we have Mega Heracross. So Mega Heracross, the only coverage options that I need is Close Combat, Pin Missile, Rock Blast. I could have went Substitute, as I could easily sub up versus the likes of Almamola, but because Mega Heracross is such a major threat to him, I decided that I'm just going to run Swords Dance instead. And the only reason I'm mostly clicking Close Combat, Pin Missile, and Rock Blast because there's no point in setting up if he can just revenge me with things like Mega Diancie or whatever. The only reason why I would ever go for a Swords Dance is if it's Mega Heracross and I'm faced off against an Almola or whatever, something bulky, right? And if I don't know if he's going to switch into a Celesteela or something else, if I don't know if he's going to switch into a Celesteela or if he's going to switch into his Dragalge onto the Mega Heracross, I can make the middle ground play and just go for Swords Dance. The only way I'm going for Swords Dance ever is if I just need to make a middle ground play. But once again, he has so many things that can outspeed me, like Mesprit, Mega Diancie, things like that, that there's no reason to really set up. But the coverage here hits everything on his team neutral. I Oko everything after Swords Dance. So basically an investment here. The 16 Adamant, after Stealth Rocks, it doesn't matter what investments he has. Close Combat will kill Celesteela if it's max HP, max defense after Stealth Rocks and 2 Close Combats. Same thing with Rock Blast, 2 kills the Dragalge, and yeah, so that's the only investment. I needed the bulk on Heracross to take a Z move, Zen Headbutt if I need it, or just if he doesn't carry, like if he's dumb and and doesn't carry coverage to hit the Zygarde with or Mega Heracross with the Zygarde, then I'm gonna be in a better position. But yeah, Heracross obviously gonna be a switch into Zygarde, but the extra bulk helps me with that. And then the speed tier, 230. Oh yeah, that helps me. It outspeeds Adamant Celesteela by 1 point. I mean, it also outspeeds things like no speed, Necrozma, and random stuff like that. But I think if he's going to bring certain mons, he's going to bring it really speedy because Mega Heracross is scary. And he doesn't want to risk me just randomly being max speed. But yeah, I decided the only speed that I really need is just for Adamant Celesteela, because if he's not Adamant, that he doesn't get the Beast Boost for attack, and then it's not as scary. Because if he doesn't get attack boosts, then Mew just beats it. So yeah, let's go over this set. So this is a set right here: Dragon Claw, Fusion Bolt, Hone Claws, Roselli Berry, and Roost. So we hit. Last week we hit him shoddy with the bulky Kyurem, and we decided to bring this again. So let's go over the investments. So this, because of the Roselli Berry, I live a Moonblast after Stealth Rocks. I don't live a Rock move, Power Gem, or Diamond Storm or whatever, but odds are he's going to click Moonblast versus me over the Power Gem because Moonblast is a higher base stat, and yeah, so that's cool. And if I predict him to go for an Earth, like it also helps me. Like if his only coverage randomly is Moonblast and Earth Power, then which he could run, because like if he's Calm Mind, Rock Polish, Moonblast, Earth Power, then that's gonna help me with that. If I see rock coverage, then it means that he doesn't have one or two set up things. So anyways, that's for Roselli Berry. Dragon Claw, stab. Fusion Bolt, 2 Akils, Mega Dancey, or after +2 Hone Claws, I Oko the Mega Dancey after rocks. Celesteela, Heavy Slams, I Roost off Heavy Slams. And Fusion Bolt, obviously it's a Celesteela. Zygarde, hit him up with the Dragon Claw. We'll go over the speed tier here pretty soon. I want to help you guys with a cool concept here. Necrozma, after a +1 Hone Claws, it's a roll to 2 KO him, depending on how much bulk he runs. But also, 240 HP and 16 Speed F. This also helps me live a +1 uninvested Psychic. I can actually roost those off. Which is kind of important because I think Necrozma is going to be the Kyurem Black switch in, and then so I Hone Claws and he Calm Minds and then he starts spamming Psychic, but I can roost those off, so that's that investment. Almola obviously gets wrecked by Fusion Bolt, especially when I start setting up. Hopefully he doesn't Scald Burn me, and I can live. He's not going to have Dazzling Gleam on Mesprit. I consider, like, what if he brings Dazzling Gleam? And it's like, he's not bringing Dazzling Gleam because he's going to run Psychic for the Mega Heracross, and the only coverage he needs is Psychic and Shadow Ball and stuff. So, yeah, I didn't really need any Spit Out, but I think the Psychics don't do too much versus me unless he's Choice Specs Mesprit. So, yeah, he doesn't have a way to one-shot me other than max speed Z-move Zygarde, or just outrage Zygarde. And if his Zygarde doesn't have enough speed to speed creep me, then he's in a lot of trouble. So okay, so this is really, really cool. 287 speed. What is that speed for? I predict him to speed creep my Mega Heracross, hit 285 speed, and I'm speed creeping his speed creep. I expect his Mons to hit the 280. Why is my sticky notes messing up? But I expect him to hit 285, and I'm speed creeping his speed creep. So hopefully that works out. Speed creep, max speed Heracross. Jolly. Next, so I could technically run. I can aggressive speed creep Mega Dancy because he has no reason. Well, all he needs to do is speed creep the Mew. But the thing is that I have literally zero reason to put any bulk on Thunders in my eyes, because if I randomly run like I don't know, something like 335, or I don't know, I think outspeed speed creep his speed creep, I can run like something like that and be aggressive like that. But if Trev sees right through that, I'm gonna be in a lot of trouble. Basically, Thunders, because I do have the Z move, I will be able to OHKO the Mega Dancy unless he's like max HP or some bullshit like that. I can't really risk his Mega Dancy being absolute max speed timid. I don't expect him to be that, but once again, I have no reason not to go 352 speed to speed creep his Mega Dancy, and I will be able to outspeed the entirety of the team. So the coverage on my Thunderous is Thunderbolt, General Stab, Psychic, Psychic. Oh my goodness, my sticky notes. There we go. Psychic, Psychic hits the Dragalge. I'm pretty confident that he's going to bring Dragalge for the Thunderous. So I know that HP Ice is not going to be doing enough to the Dragalge. So um, yeah, I need Psychic to hit that thing, and then HP Ice obviously for the Zygarde, and then the coverage move being Nasty Plot. I could potentially late game sweep with Thunderous if he doesn't carry Trick Room, or if he doesn't carry if I kill off his Choice Scarfer, as his potential Choice Scarfers are Mesprit, I guess. I think it'd be more likely to be Scarf, or Specs, but he could be Scarf, Trick, Mesprit, randomly Scarf Dragalge, but Scarf Dragalge doesn't outspeed Thunderous. Scarfed, yeah. The only potential Scarfers that are realistic, I guess, are like Scarf Mesprit and Scarf Rotom. And if I get rid of those, I potentially just win. And I also have to weaken the Dragalge enough to the point where it dies to +2 Psychic or whatever. And the last set is Banded Snorlax. So, at first I had Curselax because he doesn't have a Ghost type, and Curselax is free, and I can take hits from like the entirety of this team. But once again, I expect he has a couple of Trick Mons, and I don't want to get tricked. And two is I need a secondary. If Mega Heracross goes down, Mew gets weakened, I just lose to +1 Zygarde. I cannot allow that. So just in case I needed super backup for the Zygarde, and I'm running Banded Snorlax, as Banded Snorlax 2 KOs his entire team. Well, actually return kind of 2 KOs his entire team, except for Celesteal. Return 2 KOs Mega Dancy after Rocks. Return to a KO Zygarde, but I have Ice Punch to, even if he's Yachi Berry, I just blow back Zygarde. Self-destruct, one hit kills Mega Dancy after Rocks, and it is a roll to one-shot the Zygarde, one-shot the Necrozma. So if his Necrozma is like a setup variant and like sets up somehow, well, like nothing on my team really lets it set up, but if you start setting up Calm Minds or whatever versus my Registeel or whatever, and it gets out of hand and Thunderous can't revenge it, then I'm just gonna boom on it and then take it out. So that's really good. I can take a hit once again from Mega Dancy, Calm Minds or whatever, and I need a way to kill Mega Dancy. I come in with Snorlax, click self-destruct, and kill. And it's just to prevent my opponent from sweeping me with something. Snorlax is just a safety net. So, holy crap, this was a long one, but I spent so much time with this TeamBuilder, and it's almost like a useless game in a sense of like really mattering in the big scheme of things, but I really wanted to get a win versus Trev because he deserves the respect of building time-wise, and I don't want to lose for no reason. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this team builder. It was long, it was in depth. I probably didn't explain everything perfectly, but these are here to help everybody to get better. Somewhat enjoyable, a little bit raw, a little bit boring, but maybe not. I hope you guys enjoy this for the 19th millionth time, and I'll see you guys later for the game. Hopefully it's a good one, and I'm signing out. Peace.